Elvis Presley won competitive Grammy Awards only for his gospel recordings, not his rock and roll hits. He was once named one of America's 10 outstanding young men, alongside figures like a future senator and renowned scientists. Decades after his passing, he was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest honor a civilian can receive from the United States government. Number 10. His freakin' house became a National Historic Landmark. Okay, picture this. You're so famous, so iconic, that the place you lived becomes an official treasure recognized by the entire United States government. That's exactly what happened with Graceland, Elvis Presley's mansion in Memphis, Tennessee. It wasn't an award given to him while he was alive, obviously, but it's a massive honor cementing his cultural importance long after he was gone. On March 27, 2006, the U.S. Secretary of the Interior, Gail Norton, stood on the steps of Graceland and announced its designation as a National Historic Landmark. This isn't just some fancy title they hand out easily. National Historic Landmarks are places deemed nationally significant, places that represent an idea or an aspect of American history that's super important. Think Mount Vernon, Pearl Harbor, or the Martin Luther King Jr. birth home. And boom! Graceland joined that elite list. Why Graceland? The official designation recognized that the site wasn't just Elvis's home, but a focal point for his massive influence on American culture and music worldwide. It became a symbol of his journey from humble beginnings to superstardom, embodying the American dream for millions. The nomination form itself highlighted Elvis's role in synthesizing country and blues into rock and roll, revolutionizing popular music and youth culture. It pointed out how Graceland, as his primary residence from 1957 until his death in 1977, was inextricably linked to his persona and career during his peak fame and beyond. It wasn't just bricks and mortar. It was the tangible heart of the Elvis phenomenon. The process for becoming a National Historic Landmark is rigorous. It involves detailed studies, reviews by historians and experts, and recommendations to the Secretary of the Interior. Graceland had already been on the National Register of Historic Places since 1991, which is a big deal itself. But the landmark status is the highest level of recognition for historic properties bestowed by the federal government. When the announcement was made, Priscilla Presley was there accepting the plaque. It was a moment that underscored how Elvis's legacy transcended music. He had become a permanent fixture in the American historical landscape. Millions of people visit Graceland every year, making it one of the most visited private homes in America, second only perhaps to the White House. It's a pilgrimage site for fans, a museum dedicated to his life and now officially a piece of protected American history. Imagine your home having that kind of status. It's a testament to an impact so huge, it literally changed the map of American heritage. Number 9. He got his own official U.S. postage stamp, and it was a HUG deal. Forget getting a letter in the mail. Imagine getting a letter with the king of rock and roll himself delivering the postage. Well, kind of. On January 8, 1993, which would have been Elvis's 58th birthday, the United States Postal Service issued a commemorative postage stamp featuring his image. This wasn't just any stamp release. It became a cultural event of epic proportions. Why? Because the USPS did something unprecedented. They let the American public vote on the design. People could choose between a younger rockabilly Elvis from the 1950s, painted by artist Mark Stutzman, or an older jumpsuit-clad Elvis from his 1973 Aloha from Hawaii concert special, painted by John Berkey. The Elvis stamp pall captured the nation's imagination. It was discussed everywhere, on TV news, in newspapers, radio talk shows, even debated in workplaces and homes. Over 1.2 million votes were cast, a staggering number for something like a stamp design. People lined up at post offices to cast paper ballots or mailed them in. It was like a mini-election, focused entirely on which version of Elvis people preferred. In the end, the young, rebellious Elvis won by a landslide, getting over 75% of the vote. This choice itself sparked conversations about how people wanted to remember him, the revolutionary icon versus the established superstar. The release day was massive. Post offices across the country held special events. In Memphis, near Graceland, huge crowds gathered for the official first day of issue ceremony. The stamp became the most popular U.S. commemorative stamp of all time up to that point. The Postal Service printed an astonishing 500 million of them initially, way more than the usual run for a commemorative stamp, due to the overwhelming public demand and media frenzy. Even with that huge number, they were snapped up by collectors and fans. It's estimated that around 124 million of these stamps were saved, never used for postage, kept as souvenirs of the king. Getting your face on a U.S. postage stamp is a rare honor, typically reserved for presidents, historical figures, and individuals who have made extraordinary contributions to American life and culture. For Elvis, it signified his enduring place, not just in music, but in the very fabric of American identity. The whole event, the public vote, the media hype, the record-breaking sales, demonstrated that decades after his death, Elvis Presley still held a powerful grip on the American public's heart and imagination. It was more than just a stamp. It was a national affirmation of his iconic status. Number 8. He was named one of America's 10 outstanding young men. Seriously. Okay, rewind to 1970. Elvis is back on top. He's conquered Las Vegas. He's churning out hits again, and the world is reminded why he's the king. But this next honor wasn't about music sales or screaming fans. It was about character, achievement, and civic contribution awarded by a respected national organization. On January 16, 1971, Elvis Presley flew to Memphis. He was performing in Vegas at the time, to accept an award naming him one of the 10 outstanding young men of America for the year 1970. This prestigious award was presented by the United States Junior Chamber of Commerce, also known as the JCs. Think about who usually gets this kind of award. It often goes to up-and-coming politicians, scientists, community leaders, people making waves in fields far removed from rock and roll stages. And there was Elvis, standing alongside 9 other accomplished individuals under the age of 36, recognized for their significant contributions. His fellow honorees that year included future Senator Bill Bradley, then a pro basketball player known for his intellect and leadership, prominent scientists, and social activists. It was a seriously diverse and impressive group. Elvis was being acknowledged not just as an entertainer but as a significant American figure who had achieved extraordinary success and, according to the JCs, demonstrated qualities worthy of national recognition. The JCs cited his incredible career achievements, rising from poverty to become a worldwide cultural phenomenon. They also highlighted his generosity, his well-documented history of charitable donations, supporting various causes, and individuals throughout his career, often without seeking publicity. This aspect was key. The award recognized positive impact beyond just professional success. For Elvis, who often felt misunderstood or unfairly criticized, especially earlier in his career, this award was deeply meaningful. He was being honored by the establishment by a civic organization focused on leadership and community service. He delivered a heartfelt, humble acceptance speech that night, which has become quite famous among fans. He spoke about his dreams as a child, reading comic books and imagining being a hero. He said, "Without a song, the day would never end. Without a song, a man ain't got a friend. Without a song, the road would never bend. Without a song, so I keep singing a song." He expressed genuine gratitude and seemed visibly moved by the honor. He reportedly carried the award, a trophy called the TOYM Award, with him for a long time afterward. Being named one of the 10 outstanding young men of America was a unique kind of validation for Elvis, acknowledging his journey and impact in a way that platinum records and movie posters couldn't. It placed him, for a moment, in the company of future leaders and thinkers, recognizing the poor boy from Tupelo as a truly outstanding American success story. Number 7. He was inducted into the Gospel Music Hall of Fame. While the world crowned him the king of rock and roll, a huge part of Elvis Presley's heart belonged to gospel music. It was the music he grew up with, the music he returned to throughout his life for comfort and inspiration, and interestingly, the only genre for which he received competitive Grammy Awards during his lifetime. So it felt incredibly fitting, though it happened long after his passing, when Elvis was inducted into the Gospel Music Hall of Fame in Nashville, Tennessee. This honor came in 2001, recognizing his significant contributions to gospel music. The Gospel Music Association, GMA, established the Hall of Fame to honor individuals who have made a lasting impact on gospel music through their artistry, ministry, or industry work. Inductees include legendary singers, songwriters, groups, and industry pioneers who shaped the genre. For Elvis to be included acknowledged the deep connection he had with gospel and the influence his gospel recordings had on listeners, even those who primarily knew him for rock or pop. He didn't just dabble in gospel. He released several full gospel albums like His Hand in Mine, 1960, How Great Thou Art, 1967, and He Touched Me, 1972. These weren't just side projects. They were passionate explorations of the music that formed his earliest musical foundation. His versions of gospel standards like How Great Thou Art, He Touched Me, Peace in the Valley, and Crying in the Chapel, which became a huge pop hit, introduced these powerful songs to a massive global audience that might not have otherwise encountered them. He sang them with genuine conviction and feeling. His stage shows often included a gospel segment where he'd perform these beloved hymns with his backup singers, the Stamps Quartet or the Imperials, both legendary gospel groups in their own right. These moments were often highlights of his concerts, promoting a different side of his vocal talent and personal faith. The induction into the Gospel Music Hall of Fame recognized this lifelong commitment and impact. It celebrated the fact that Elvis wasn't just influenced by gospel. He actively contributed to its reach and popularity. He treated gospel music with reverence and passion, and his recordings in the genre stand as powerful testaments to his vocal range and emotional depth. While his rock and roll shook the world, his gospel music touched the soul. This honor solidified his place among the greats of the genre he loved so deeply, acknowledging a fundamental part of who Elvis Presley was, both as an artist and as a person. It was a recognition that resonated with his roots and the music that stayed with him from his childhood church days in Tupelo to the final years of his life. Number 6. He joined country music royalty in their Hall of Fame. Before there was rock and roll as we know it, Elvis Presley was deeply immersed in the sounds of country music. Growing up in the South, country music was everywhere, on the radio, at local gatherings, part of the cultural landscape. His early recordings at Sun Records fused country sensibilities with rhythm and blues, creating the revolutionary sound of rockabilly. So it was a natural, though significant honor when Elvis was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 1998. This placed him alongside the legends who defined the genre, figures like Hank Williams, Johnny Cash, Patsy Cline, and Roy Acuff. The Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum in Nashville is often called the Smithsonian of country music. Induction is considered the genre's highest honor, reserved for artists and industry, figures who have made outstanding contributions to country music throughout their careers. Elvis's inclusion recognized his profound impact on country music, even as he became a global rock and roll superstar. His early Sun sessions, featuring songs like Blue Moon of Kentucky, originally a Bill Monroe bluegrass standard, and I Forgot to Remember to Forget, which hit number 1 on the Billboard Country Chart in 1956, blurred the lines between genres and brought a new energy to country audiences. Even after becoming the king of rock and roll, Elvis continued to record and perform songs with strong country roots. Hits like Heartbreak Hotel, Don't Be Cruel, and Love Me Tender had elements that resonated with country fans. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, he recorded numerous country songs, sometimes achieving success on the country charts simultaneously with his pop chart hits. Songs like Guitar Man, Kentucky Rain, and Moody Blue clearly showed his affinity for the genre. He worked with Nashville musicians, recorded in Nashville Studios, RCA Studio B, famously, and maintained relationships within the country music community. His induction acknowledged this complex relationship. He wasn't just a rock star who borrowed from country. He was an artist whose music fundamentally altered the course of country music itself. He brought country sounds to a wider, younger audience and, conversely, brought blues and R&B influences into the country sphere, pushing the genre's boundaries. The Hall of Fame recognized him as a transformative figure whose impact was undeniable. Being placed among country's founding fathers and greatest stars underscored the breadth of his musical influence. It wasn't just about rock and roll. Elvis Presley left an indelible mark on country music too, forever linking his legacy to the heart of American roots music. This honor celebrated that vital connection, recognizing his place in the country music story. Number 5. He actually won 3 competitive Grammy Awards. But guess for what? Okay, here's a mind-bender. Elvis Presley, the undisputed king of rock and roll, the guy who unleashed Hound Dog, Jailhouse Rock, and Heartbreak Hotel onto the world, won 3 competitive Grammy Awards during his incredible career. And guess what? None of them were for rock and roll. Yup, you read that right. All 3 of his Grammy wins came in gospel categories. Let that sink in for a second. The man who defined a genre didn't win its highest award for that genre, but he was recognized 3 times for his soulful excursions into spiritual music. The Grammy Awards, presented by the Recording Academy, are widely considered the music industry's most prestigious awards. Elvis was nominated a total of 14 times for competitive Grammys, in categories ranging from rock, pop, and country to spoken word. But his actual wins came for his gospel recordings, prouding a side of his artistry that was deeply personal and resonant. His first Grammy win came in 1967 for Best Sacred Performance for his album, How Great Thou Art. This album featured his powerful rendition of the title hymn, along with other gospel standards. Hearing Elvis sing these songs, backed by soaring arrangements and heartfelt conviction, was a moving experience for many listeners. It clearly impressed the Recording Academy voters as well, giving him his first taste of Grammy Gold nearly a decade into his national fame. His second Grammy arrived 5 years later, in 1972. This time, it was for Best Inspirational Performance for his album, He Touched Me. This album continued his exploration of contemporary gospel sounds and included the popular title track, written by gospel legend Bill Gaither. Once again, Elvis poured emotion and sincerity into these recordings, connecting with the spiritual messages of the songs. His third and final competitive Grammy win came in 1974, again for Best Inspirational Performance. This time, the category excluded non-classical music. The award was for his live performance of the song How Great Thou Art, recorded during one of his Memphis concerts and featured on the album Elvis Recorded Live on Stage in Memphis. This live version captured the energy and passion he brought to his gospel performances in front of an audience, a staple of his later concerts. While some might find it ironic that the King of Rock and Roll's Grammy wins were solely in gospel, it speaks volumes about the quality and impact of his sacred music recordings. It also highlights the respect he garnered for his interpretations within that specific musical community. These weren't just throwaway tracks. They were serious artistic statements that earned the highest accolades from his industry peers. So, while he dominated the charts and stages with rock and roll, his Grammy trophies stood as testament to the power and soul of his gospel voice. Number 4. His record sales were so massive, the award needed new levels. RIAA, Gold and Platinum Dominance. Talking about Elvis's success without mentioning his record sales is like talking about the sun without mentioning light. It's fundamental. His impact wasn't just cultural. It was quantifiable in staggering numbers of buying records, cassette tapes, and later CDs flying off the shelves. The Recording Industry Association of America, RIA, is the organization that certifies these sales in the U.S., awarding gold, 500,000 units, platinum, 1 million units, and multi-platinum 2 million or more units status. And Elvis, he wasn't just in the RIA record books. He basically rewrote them. While the RIA only started its official gold record program in 1958, after Elvis's initial explosion, he quickly began racking up certifications and hasn't stopped since. Even decades after his death, audits and recertification continue to add to his totals as catalog sales boom and older data is verified. Trying to pin down the exact final number is tricky because it keeps changing, but the figures are astronomical. According to the RIAA's own records, Elvis Presley is one of the best-selling solo artists in U.S. history based on certified album sales. He holds the records for the most gold albums, the most platinum albums, and the most multi-platinum albums for any artist. Think about that. More than the Beatles, more than Michael Jackson, more than any other solo act in American music history. Let's break down those shiny discs. As of recent counts, Elvis has well over 100 gold albums, over 50 platinum albums, and over 25 multi-platinum albums certified by the RIAA. That's just albums. Then you add in the singles. He has dozens upon dozens of gold singles and a hefty number of platinum singles too. His total certified units, album counted once, singles counted once, easily number over 150 million in the United States alone. Some estimates of his worldwide sales reach mind-boggling figures, though verifiable global certification are harder to standardize. What does this mean in terms of awards? Each one of those certifications, gold, platinum, multi-platinum, comes with a physical award plaque presented to the artist and label. Imagine the sheer wall space needed to display all of Elvis's RIA awards. Graceland has rooms dedicated to pulting rows upon rows of these gold and platinum records, tangible proof of his incredible connection with the buying public. He wasn't just a critical success or a live phenomenon. People bought his music in unprecedented quantities year after year, decade after decade. This RIA dominance isn't just one award. It's a continuous stream of awards reflecting unparalleled commercial success and enduring popularity. It's a statistical monument to his reign as king, measured in millions upon millions of records sold. Number 3, he was part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's VERY first class. When you talk about the founding fathers of rock and roll, Elvis Presley's name is usually one of the first, if not the first, to come up. So, when the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was established to honor the architects and pioneers of this revolutionary music genre, it was absolutely essential that Elvis be included right from the very beginning. In 1986, Elvis Presley was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as part of its inaugural class. This wasn't just getting into the club, it was helping to build the clubhouse itself. The first induction ceremony, held in New York City, was a landmark event. The initial group of inductees reads like a who's who of rock and roll's genesis: Chuck Berry, James Brown, Ray Charles, Sam Cooke, Fats Domino, the Everly Brothers, Buddy Holly, Jerry Lee, Lewis, Little Richard, and of course Elvis Presley. These were the artists who laid the foundation, broke down barriers, and changed the course of popular music forever. Being part of this first wave of honorees instantly cemented Elvis's position not just as a superstar, but as a pivotal figure in the very creation and popularization of rock and roll. The induction citation celebrated his unprecedented commercial success and pervasive cultural impact. It highlighted how he fused country, blues, and gospel influences into a sound that was entirely new and electrifying. It spoke of his charisma, his stage presence, his controversial yet magnetic persona that captivated youth and challenged societal norms. The Hall of Fame recognized that Elvis didn't just sing rock and roll, he embodied it. He made it dangerous, exciting, and irresistible to a generation. Because Elvis had passed away nearly a decade earlier, he couldn't accept the award himself. Accepting on his behalf were his young daughter, Lisa Marie Presley, and his ex-wife, Priscilla Presley. It was a poignant moment, acknowledging the man whose music had shaken the world. The induction wasn't just about celebrating past achievements. It was about ensuring his foundational role in rock history would be permanently recognized and remembered. Being in that very first class, alongside the other titans who birthed the genre, gave Elvis a place of ultimate honor within the institution dedicated to preserving rock and roll's legacy. It was a statement. Rock and roll history begins here, and Elvis Presley was front and center. Number 2. The Grammys gave him their Lifetime Achievement Award. Super early. We already talked about Elvis's 3 competitive Grammy wins for gospel music. But the Recording Academy knew his impact stretched far beyond that single genre. They recognized his monumental contribution to music and culture as a whole. So, at the young age of just 36, Elvis Presley was awarded the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 1971. This is a huge deal. The Lifetime Achievement Award is a special merit award given to performers who, during their lifetimes, have made creative contributions of outstanding artistic significance to the field of recording. That's exceptionally young and speaks volumes about the sheer magnitude of his impact in a relatively short period. Think about it. By 1971, Elvis had already transformed popular music in the 50s, navigated a successful movie career, made a massive comeback in '68, and re-established him beyond. He had packed several careers' worth of achievements into about 15 years. The Recording Academy decided not to wait until the twilight of his career, or posthumously. They honored him while he was still actively performing and shaping the music landscape. This award isn't given out lightly. It's reserved for artists whose careers have truly left an indelible mark. Previous recipients before Elvis included giants like Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra. For Elvis to join that elite company at such a young age underscored his status as not just a fleeting pop sensation, but a genuine musical legend whose work was already deemed historically significant by his peers in the industry. The award ceremony itself wasn't always the televised extravaganza it is today, and details of his acceptance, or if he attended that specific presentation, are sometimes mixed with his competitive wins around that time. However, the significance of the award itself is undeniable. It was the music industry's highest body, acknowledging the totality of his influence, the ground-wrenching recordings, the cultural shifts he ignited, the global phenomenon he had become. It recognized that his contributions transcended chart positions or specific genres. He had fundamentally altered the way music sounded, looked, and felt. Receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award so early was a powerful affirmation of his unique and towering place in 20th century music history. A recognition that his legacy was already secured while he was still creating it. Number 1. He received America's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. This is the big one. It doesn't get higher than this for an American civilian. Decades after his death, the impact of Elvis Presley was recognized at the very highest level of the United States government. On November 16, 2018, Elvis Aaron Presley was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Donald Trump in a ceremony at the White House. This award is bestowed by the President of the United States and is considered the nation's highest civilian honor, alongside the Congressional Gold Medal. It recognizes individuals who have made exceptionally meritorious contributions to the security or national interests of the United States, world peace, cultural, or other significant public or private endeavors. To put Elvis in the company of Medal of Freedom recipients is extraordinary. Past honorees include figures like Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, Stephen Hawking, Rosa Parks, Neil Armstrong, and countless other towering figures from science, politics, arts, activism, and public service. For Elvis, The justification centered on his enduring cultural impact, defining a genre and shaping American identity. The White House statement highlighted his journey from poverty to global fame, embodying the American dream. It specifically mentioned his military service, his chart dominance, his cinematic career, and his lasting influence on music and popular culture across the globe. He was described as an enduring American icon. The ceremony itself saw 7 individuals honored that day, including baseball legend Babe Ruth, also posthumous, Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia posthumous, and Senator Orrin Hatch. Representing Elvis and accepting the medal was Jack Soden, the CEO of Elvis Presley Enterprises, the company that manages Graceland and the Elvis estate. The president spoke about Elvis's legacy, his music's fusion of styles, and his status as a true cultural force. He remarked on Elvis's patriotism and his service in the U.S. Army during the height of his fame, presenting him as a symbol of American possibility and spirit. Receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom, even posthumously, is an immense honor. It signifies that Elvis Presley's contributions are seen as vital not just to music history, but to the broader narrative of American culture and achievement. It's the nation itself, through its highest office, acknowledging his unparalleled role in shaping the sounds and attitudes of the 20th century and beyond. From Tupelo to Memphis to the world stage, and finally, to a place among America's most celebrated citizens recognized in the White House. It represents the ultimate official validation of his monumental legacy. It's hard to imagine a bigger, more significant honor for the boy who grew up dreaming of changing the world with a song.